But I see a lot of women who they get themselves in the same situation, and I be trying to tell them from the door, I'm like, yo, I don't even think, like, legally, I don't even think that marriage is valid because you can't marry a person.
I get more calls from jail.
Wow.
I get more calls from sisters wanting to marry brothers that's in jail. I get so...
Yo, I seen a sister.
I've never turned so many people down.
Married a brother in prison, right? And was holding him down, whole nine.
He come
home. Soon as he get home, he talaka and he out running the streets.
The thing is that when sisters marry brothers in prison, I mean, it's not something that I encourage. It's not something that I would do myself. I mean, every sister who marries a brother in prison has a different set of circumstances. For example, that was her child's father.
Right.
He went to prison. He took his shahada.
Yeah.
And you know, they're together. Taking his shahada, he realizes he can't really be with her unless, you know, they were married, and he decides to marry her. I think that's an honorable thing. I think you know, because they already have history.
It's always exception to the rule.
You know what I mean? Right. They already have history. They have children together. He converted to Islam. I think that's an honorable thing. That's an admirable thing. What I find not necessarily deplorable, but what I find, you know, women the desperation, you know, just a desperate attempt at being in a relationship is where a woman who, you know, her friend is married, right? Let me tell you how these situations go. So her friend is married, and her friend is married to a brother who's in prison. The brother who is in prison has a friend who's looking to get married. So he said, my wife know a sister, right? And God forbid she's a new shahada. God forbid she's a new shahada. My wife know a sister for you. Hook me up. The wife plugs in with this one, giving the collect calls or whatever. She has established a relationship with this guy based upon her friend being married to somebody who is in prison. Those type of situations, 99.9% of the time, never works out. Why? Number one is because the only reason why he's looking for marriage is to find someone to either do the bid with him or to find someone, if he's close to going home, somewhere to be paroled. Mm-hmm. It's an agenda. It's agenda driven. It's not genuine. I understand the responsibility of being married. I am ready to take on the responsibility of being married. Because if you felt like that, then you wouldn't marry her while you were in prison. You could communicate with her through her wali. You could have something set up that when you come home, you get a job or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to do anything with you until I get a job, get my own place, and then I'll marry you. That's the honorable way to go about it. But a lot of the brothers in prison don't do that.
Yeah.
I know maybe one or two situations personally where it did go like that. And I mean, the marriage didn't work. That's the second point I'm getting to. The reason why it doesn't work most of the time is because he doesn't know himself as a Muslim on the other side of those bars. Mm-hmm. He knows himself right now, as Allah says in the Quran, تعلمون ظاهرا من الحياة الدنيا يعلمون ظاهرا من الحياة الدنيا وهم عن الآخرة هم غافلون. That they only know the outward appearance of this life, but as it relates to the inner workings of the hereafter, the behind the scenes, you know, the spiritual world, they have absolutely no clue about that. Mm-hmm. So you only know yourself in real time right now. And 2020 is, you know, hindsight is 2020. When you go back, when you go on the other side of those bars, you don't know what type of situations you're going to be tested with. You don't know what type of circumstances that you're going to be confronted with that's going to change this whole persona, this whole image that you have created of yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you are only basing, I'm ready to marry this sister based upon who you are right now. You don't know yourself on the other side of those bars. Temptation is going to confront you. God forbid you was getting high before you went in. You know what I mean? You was sniffing dope. You was doing whatever before you went in. Mm-hmm. Those same temptations, people, places, and things are still there when you get on the other side of those bars. And you know the type of animal you become when you start using again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, even if drugs and alcohol is not your thing, maybe the lifestyle. You was addicted to the lifestyle. You know, you like driving around in fancy cars. You like the attention of women. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like the attention of men, right? No, that's a fact. Street niggas love the attention of other men. Sometimes you get fresh, you know, just to come around the block and have men complimenting you on, and we do the same thing in prison. You all buff, walk around with your shirt off, so other men can look at you and see how buff. Like, I mean, like that's, you know, man, we don't gotta go there, man. We already know what that's about. The point that I'm making is that some people are addicted to the lifestyle. They love the attention. So what happens now when you come home and you was that guy, you marry this woman, not only do you, when you're in prison, you see women differently than you do when you're not in prison. Yeah. When you are caged in, when you are in a restricted environment with all of these limitations, every woman, even the COs, look good.
Yeah.
I never forget. I remember there was this Miss Green. I never forget, a tall, slimmy, you know what I mean, was down Yardville.
I know.
Mean as hell. But, you know, you start looking at, you know, I mean, like, the ugliest CO, over time, you start to rationalize in your mind, she's not that bad. I will wife her. You know what I mean? Wallahi, I kid you not. I remember coming home and I ran into Miss Green. I forgot. I think she got transferred, I believe, to Trenton State Prison. And I went to go see my man, not in Trenton, Rawway. I went to go see my man in Rawway. I went to go see Akil in Rawway. And same CO was there. And I'm looking at her from another perspective. I've been home for a year, 2 years, and I don't have those type of limitations anymore. So now I can see her for who she is. You know, the bird she is. You know, just ugly as hell. You know what I mean? Like, with all due respect. But at the same token,
with all due respect. That's real tough.
It's a different outlook because I'm not trapped in those. I don't have those type of limitations anymore, so I can see her for who she is now. And the same thing with brothers. I'm telling you, brothers who marry women in prison, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's a big girl, especially brothers in prison, they love big girls. You know what I mean? And big girls love brothers in prison. I don't know what the chemistry is there, but it seems like it's a real chemistry.
Low self-esteem.
Right. So he comes home and then he's seeing all the other slimmies walking around, and then you start seeing her for who she is, and it's like, but you don't want to let her go because you feel, you know, street dudes have this loyalty. You know what I mean? We have this concept of loyalty, skewed concept of loyalty. So you don't want to just cut her loose and say, listen, I'm going to divorce you because I find other women more attractive now. No, I'm going to keep you, but I'm going to cheat on you. I'm going to cheat on you sometimes with her best friend. With her best friend. Because the best friend is prettier than her. But if you would have just gave yourself some time while you was in prison, you would have saw that you had more options.
And to be funny, real talk, the guys be sincere at that particular time. Because that's all they surround us.
Right.
Yeah. They be really sincere.
Really sincere.
Yeah.
But it's a sincere ignorance.
Good point.
It's a sincere ignorance. Right. Because you're not realizing that your outlook on this woman is limited because of your circumstances being limited. Yeah. I mean, how else do dudes in prison start sleeping with other dudes? I know hard rock dudes. I mean, dudes that will knock your head off, and then start sleeping with other dudes that's in prison. I remember it was a movie. I forgot the name of it. Chris Rock was in it. They was in prison.
Penitentiary.
Chris Rock, I think it was Adam Sandler or whatever. At any rate, when he got into prison, Chris Rock was like, after a couple of years, he'll start looking like Beyonce. It was, homosexual Spanish dude, had a bandana around his head, so he was like, after a while, he'll start looking like Beyonce to you. You know what I mean? And that's what happens because your limitations, your circumstances begin to limit your outlook on the world.
Yeah.
And when you come home, it's a free world out there. You can choose any woman you want now, but now you're stuck with this woman that you done made a commitment to while you was in prison. And then rather than just sparing her feelings and just saying, hey, listen, I don't want to cheat on you because I'm going to cheat on you. I married you at a time when I was just really restricted, limited. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with all types of emotions that are confronting me that I never had to confront before. When you're trapped in a room, you locked in a cell, all types of emotions, thoughts start coming out that you never knew existed. You understand what I'm saying? And you're being confronted with this stuff and you have no other option but to deal with that. You're sitting in groups and therapy groups and counselors are saying stuff, and although you're sitting cool like you don't want to be participating, but all of that stuff is affecting you. You can't ignore that joint, man. I remember having a group session, man, when I was working at a halfway house. I had a group session. I never forget. I had this young boy from Jersey City. You know, Jersey City dudes, they tough as they come. Jersey City. So he comes in the group and he's like, man, I'm just here. I ain't sitting in I don't want to participate in no groups. Don't ask me about nothing, blah, blah, blah. I was like, first of all, you're not just here, because if you're in a halfway house, you signed up to be here. Nobody put you here. So don't come in here with the tough Tony stuff. You wanted to be here, Negro. Don't come here and talk about, well, they just put me here, I'm just here. No, you signed up to go to the halfway house once you reach your 2-year mark, you know, to your parole. I said, so second of all, you are going to participate, or I'm going to violate you and send you behind back to prison. That's the fact of the matter. You here, we going to talk. I said, third of all, if you just give us a chance, you'll see that I'm not here for a paycheck. I'm here because I really want to see you guys excel. I really want to see you guys do good. And if you just give it an opportunity, you'll see that we talk about some real stuff in our group settings, man. Yo, my group settings used to be fire, man. I had dudes in there crying, man. Like, you know, talking about big, muscular dude from Patterson. He was molested and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, coming out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was real talk. It was necessary. Yeah. You know what I mean? But the point that I'm making is that when you're in prison, man, you have a totally different outlook on life versus when you come home and the world is open to you. So to make a decision to marry a woman while you're in prison, if it's not somebody that you had a previous dealing with and you got history with, whether you got children with that person or you guys been in a relationship for years, you know, I would say pump your brakes and don't do that. And I would definitely say to the women to be cautious, because you don't want to be used in that manner. No matter how desperate you are to be in a relationship, don't sell yourself like that. You selling yourself as a cheap object, because that's what he's doing. He's exploiting you. That's what exploitation is, to see you as an object for my own personal fulfillment. And that's exactly what he's doing, writing all these great love letters you never knew a nigga could write until you go to prison. Like, he becomes Shakespeare.